Gaming Vault presents 15 insane ways video games tried stopping you from playing. Video games are truly interesting creations. As much as developers want you to play a game, they also introduce creative methods to halt less than moral ways of playing it. Of course, some games tend to halt your progress in creative ways, even if you ultimately find a way through. Let's take a look at 15 insane ways video games try to stop you from playing. All your base are destroyed. Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. The first thing you should know about pre-Steam games is that developers were very annoyed about piracy. Instead of outright denying the experience, some companies like Westwood Studios took rather interesting approaches. Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 essentially destroyed the base and units in the first minute for users playing on pirated copies, ruining matches before they even got started. No Faith Mirror's Edge. In a game that's primarily about parkour, what happens when the protagonist can't effectively rim? Such was the anti-piracy measure introduced in Mirror's Edge. Every time Faith is close to a jump, she'll slow down. This makes it impossible to go anywhere past the opening rooftop in the first stage. At least there's the gorgeous view to admire. The square root of a fish? SKULLGIRLS. The outlandish fighting game SKULLGIRLS didn't just strip away the ending and credits for pirated players. Instead, it asked, "What is the square root of a fish?" before adding, "Now I'm sad." This was meant to out anyone who would ask the developer about the phrase's meaning. But really, in terms of playing a game for the conclusion, SKULLGIRLS denied that satisfaction to pirates. Pirate Jail, Zach McKraken and the Alien Mindbenders. If you owned a pirated copy of Zach McKraken and the Alien Mindbenders, then an exit visa code was required. Not only was it 7 pages long, but copying said codes wasn't an easy task either. If you inputted the wrong code, then Zach would be sent to pirate jail. The warden even lectures the player on the evils of piracy before leaving and ending the game. Pirate Wheel, Monkey Island 1 and 2. In the first and second Monkey Island, a pirate wheel of sorts was introduced. This required players to correctly match either pirate heads and dates or ingredients together. Otherwise, you couldn't play the game. As a counter to photocopied video game manuals, it wasn't a bad strategy. It proved just as effective as you'd think in the long run though. More scares, Five Nights at Freddy's. Pirating Five Nights at Freddy's? What were you thinking? Now you have to deal with an additional jump scare every time you save and quit. On the one hand, the game can be fully played and probably enjoyed. On the other hand, if you really had something against Freddy Fazbear, then this was certainly a good way to dissuade you from coming back. Haze and Birds, Armor 2. While playing Armor 2 for the first time, you might have noticed your view being hazy. Furthermore, weapons seem pretty inaccurate. Your focus becomes all the worse, and then, strangely enough, you turn into a bird. No, you haven't stumbled onto a bad trip. It's what happens when playing a pirated copy of Armor 2. So yeah, don't do that. Escaping the Asylum Demon, Dark Souls. If you're a first-time player for Dark Souls, then encountering the Asylum Demon can seem like an incredibly tough challenge right off the bat. No equipment and no weapons. What madness is this? However, you don't actually need to fight the boss. There's a door to the right to bypass the encounter, gather some gear and come back. That too with a massive plunging attack from on high. For first-time players though, it may seem like the game wants them gone already. Fun fact though, beating the Asylum Demon with your bare fists will cause its weapon to drop. Giygas Breaker, Earthbound. Earthbound is one of the best RPGs ever made, but heck if it didn't spite pirates in the most damning way possible. If you own a pirated copy and try to play the game, it will be incredibly tough all throughout. Let's say you deal with it and reach the final boss Giygas regardless. After defeating it in the first round, the game will crash and your save data will be deleted. Fake Players, Football Manager Handheld 2015. The Football Manager series is quite interesting in that it allows you to create fake players for games. However, Football Manager Handheld 2015 generated fake players even if you chose the Use Real Player option. Naturally, this led to many users asking the developer Sports Interactive what the issue was. The response? We only offer support to people who buy the game. Manual needed for some rooms. Metal Gear NES. Konami's first Metal Gear title on the NES was no stranger to combating pirates, or even those who obtained a second-hand copy. If you didn't have the game's manual, then it was impossible to complete certain rooms. So if you lost the manual or happened to purchase a used copy without it, well, good luck finding about Big Boss's betrayal. White Phosphorus, Spec Ops: The Line. Aside from all the loading screens that made you question the morality of your actions, Spec Ops: The Line had a very ingenious way to temporarily stop progress. During one sequence, white phosphorus has to be utilized to continue. If you don't use it and try to gun down all the enemies normally, then endless waves of foes, even some with light machine guns and snipers, will pin you down. There's simply no way to advance without using the white phosphorus, and well, the results aren't pretty. Unlabelled Navigational Map. Star Trek: The 25th Anniversary. Going from one location to the next in Star Trek 25th Anniversary is an interesting experience. The game informs the player where to go. The navigational map is unlabeled though. You need to refer to the manual for the actual labeled map. Head to the wrong location and there is a chance of being attacked by Romulans and Klingons and whatnot. You could find the right system through trial and error, but it's probably not the most peaceful route. Psycho Mantis, Metal Gear Solid. Not every game-denying measure has to be piracy related. Back when Metal Gear Solid first released, players were befuddled when fighting Psycho Mantis. The psychic boss would engage in an endless conversation with the player, outright stopping them from a real battle. One solution was to switch the controller to the second port on the PS1 and initiate the fight. AI Kernel, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. The kernel in Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty isn't as effective in stopping your progress as Psycho Mantis, but he still tries. Revealed to be an AI in the ending sequences of the game, the kernel will tell the player to shut off the console and not play anymore. To be fair, we probably should have listened. The game got a lot weirder from there.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.